Imagine standing on the roof of the world, the air thin, the silence deafening, the horizon seems endless. You've just achieved what only a fraction of humanity ever will. You've conquered Mount Everest. At 22, you've made history standing on the top of the world. You take one last look at the summit, and then you begin your descent. But something goes wrong. Minutes later, you vanish forever, and your triumph becomes disaster. This is the story of Michael Matthews, a bright young man, a passionate climber, and above all, a beloved son and brother, and a mystery that would haunt his family for over 2 decades. Until one day, his younger brother decided to go back to Everest, to bring Michael home. This story is about finding Michael, and it's unlike any story you've heard before. Before we dive into the story of Michael, I would like to say, I'm a small channel sharing these incredible and often tragic stories from the world's highest peaks. If you're enjoying this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button and giving this video a like. It might seem small, but it helps a lot on the road to my first 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. And now, let's dive into the story of Michael. Michael Matthews wasn't born to climb. He wasn't raised in the shadows of mountains or trained by elite adventurers. He was born in London, England, to a successful family. He had a warm, easy smile. He was sharp, funny, and full of life. But Michael had something most people never find, a quiet obsession with the edge of the possible. He was driven, not by fame or danger, but by the thrill of challenge. In his teens, he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, then Aconcagua. While most people his age were worried about exams or dating, Michael was planning ascents thousands of meters above sea level. His parents supported him. His brother Spencer looked up to him like a superhero. And in 1999, at just 22 years old, Michael set his sights on the ultimate dream: climb Mount Everest. He joined a well-organized expedition, guided by experienced mountaineers and Sherpa support. It was May, prime climbing season in Nepal. The route, the southeast ridge, the same path Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay had taken in 1953. The team began their ascent slowly and carefully, acclimatizing to the brutal altitude. Every step above 7,000 meters is like breathing through a straw. Your muscles ache, your mind slows, and the body begins to die. Everest is not just tall, it's unforgiving. The summit is higher than commercial airliners fly. The winds can exceed 200 kilometers per hour. Temperatures can drop below -40 degrees Celsius. The air contains only 1/3 the oxygen you'd breathe at sea level. Every step feels like dragging your body through water. Your brain slows, your muscles shrink, and your heartbeat races just to keep you conscious. Most people spend years preparing for this terrain, and yet, even with experience, luck, and timing, one mistake can result in death. Michael kept pushing. On May 13th, 1999, after weeks of climbing and preparation, Michael Matthews stood at the top of Mount Everest, the youngest Briton at the time to summit Everest. But in the mountains, summits are deceiving. The true challenge is not just reaching the top. The real challenge lies ahead, getting down. And that's when everything unraveled. Michael began his descent. The winds were rising and the temperature plummeted. Above 8,000 meters lies the death zone, a place where oxygen is so scarce, the human body starts to shut down. He was seen near the balcony, a narrow ledge between 8,300 and 8,400 meters. It was the last confirmed sighting. A snowstorm swept the ridge. Visibility dropped to near zero. He fell behind. Some believe he slipped. Others suggest he simply sat down from exhaustion and never got back up. There was no cry for help, no beacon, and no final message. There was only silence and wondering what happened. The only thing that was for sure is that Michael was gone. He never made it back down. Teams searched for Michael. They combed the ridge. But on Everest, time is everything. If you stay too long, you die too. They were forced to leave without finding Michael. Back home in England, the Matthews family was devastated. No body, no answers, and no proper goodbyes. Michael's brother Spencer was only 10 years old when Michael disappeared, and though the world moved on, he never truly did. His brother wasn't a headline. He wasn't a statistic. He was his brother. And one day, Spencer decided to return to the mountain that had taken Michael away with a mission: finding Michael. Grief doesn't follow a straight path. It loops, it pauses, it reopens without warning. For Spencer Matthews, the loss of his brother wasn't a chapter. It was a permanent thing. Birthdays came and went. Family dinners always had one chair emotionally unoccupied. And questions, unspoken but constant, lived in the background of every milestone. Would Michael have liked this song? Would he have had kids by now? Would he have taken up another mountain or settled down far from the cliffs? You never stop wondering. That's what made Spencer's decision so powerful. He wasn't chasing closure, he was chasing the connection with his brother, one last act of love, even if it ended in more silence. In 2023, Spencer Matthews launched a mission with Disney Plus behind him to document the journey of finding Michael. Supported by survival legend Bear Grylls and the legendary climber Nirmal Nims Purya, they assembled a team to search for Michael's remains. The documentary would be called Finding Michael. Armed with drone footage, satellite images, and a powerful photograph taken in 2017, showing a figure in red gear near the balcony, they had a lead. Could it be him? The expedition began. Oxygen tanks packed, crevasse ladders placed, and the hopes of a grieving family rested on a narrow patch of ice high above the clouds. They climbed into the death zone. They reached the site, and when they did, they found a body. The team approached slowly. Everything matched: the jacket, the location, the pose. But when they got close, their hearts sank. It wasn't Michael. It was another climber. Wang Dorchi Sherpa, missing for years. His family, like the Matthews family, had waited for answers. They never received them. Until now. Spencer made a decision. They would bring Wang home. At that moment, the mission changed. It was no longer just about closure for his own family. It was about honoring every life lost on that mountain, especially the Sherpas who risk everything to guide others to the top. Michael wasn't found, but someone else was, and they wanted to bring him home. Today, Michael Matthews remains on Everest, but his story has sparked global conversation about loss, about the risks of climbing, and about what we owe the people we leave behind. Finding Michael isn't just a documentary, it became a message. A message that closure isn't always about answers. Sometimes it's about the courage to keep looking, long after hope has faded. Spencer Matthews showed the world what brotherhood means, and in doing so, he gave voice to the hundreds of families with no grave to visit. Mount Everest is a place of glory and triumph, but also of loss. For every triumphant summit photo, there are untold stories of sacrifice, of pain, of silence. Michael's story is one of them. He climbed higher than most of us ever will. He disappeared chasing a dream, and he lives on in the hearts of those who remember him, and the millions now inspired by his story. There are some stories that don't end. They echo. Michael's is one of them. His photo remains on family shelves. His name lives in quiet conversations, and every time someone watches Finding Michael, they become part of that echo. If you found this story moving, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing for more stories from the world's highest and deadliest mountains.